August 1st, 1914. Two warships disappear from a British shipyard before dawn. The Ottoman Empire had paid for them in full. Britain took them anyway. The Ottomans spent 2 years raising the money. Not from their treasury, they were broke. From their people. School children donated their lunch money. Widows sold their jewelry. Farmers gave a portion of their harvest. A national fundraising campaign collected enough gold to buy two of the most advanced battleships ever built. The ships had names, Sultan Osman I and Rishadi. They were dreadnoughts, floating fortresses with 13-inch guns that could sink anything on water. They weren't just warships. They were symbols, proof that the Ottoman Empire could still compete with European powers. The Ottomans were desperate for them. Greece had just humiliated them in the Balkan Wars. Their navy was obsolete. Their coastline was vulnerable. These two ships would change that balance instantly. Construction finished in July 1914. Ottoman crews arrived in Britain to sail them home. Then, on August 1st, the British government sent a single telegram. The ships were being requisitioned. No negotiation. No compensation offered yet. 500 Ottoman sailors stood on the dock, watching British crews board their vessels and sail away. Winston Churchill, First Lord of the Admiralty, made the call. Britain was about to enter World War I. They needed every warship they could get. From a military perspective, it made sense. Two modern dreadnoughts could shift the balance in the North Sea. From a financial perspective, it was theft. The Ottomans had paid £3 million, over 400 million in today's money. The contracts were valid. The money had cleared. Britain offered vague promises of future compensation. Nothing in writing. News reached Constantinople within hours. Crowds gathered outside the British embassy. The mood wasn't just anger, it was betrayal. These weren't government funds that vanished. This was money from ordinary people who had sacrificed for their country's defense. The Ottoman leadership faced a choice. They'd been neutral up to this point. The empire was exhausted from wars in the Balkans. They needed peace, not another conflict. But Britain had just demonstrated something critical. Treaties meant nothing when power was unequal. The Ottomans started looking for new allies. Germany had been courting them for years. The Germans offered something Britain never would: respect, or at least the appearance of it. On August 2nd, one day after the seizure, the Ottoman Empire and Germany signed a secret alliance. Still, the Ottomans hesitated to enter the war. They wanted the alliance as insurance, not as a declaration. Then Germany made an offer. Two German warships, the Goeben and Breslau, were trapped in the Mediterranean. British and French fleets were hunting them. Germany proposed a solution. The ships would escape to Ottoman waters. Once there, Germany would gift them to the Ottoman Empire, a replacement for the stolen dreadnoughts. The Ottomans agreed. On August 10th, the two German ships outran the British fleet and reached Constantinople. The next day, Germany formally transferred ownership. The ships were repainted, given Ottoman names, and the crews wore Ottoman uniforms. Technically, they were now Ottoman vessels. Practically, they were still German officers, German orders, German strategy. Britain protested. The transfer was obviously a legal fiction, but the Ottomans had learned from Britain's playbook. If legal technicalities could justify seizing paid-for warships, they could justify accepting gifted ones. The German ships gave hardliners in the Ottoman government the leverage they needed. On October 29th, the former German vessels, now flying Ottoman flags, sailed into the Black Sea and bombarded Russian ports. Russia declared war on the Ottomans the next day. Britain and France followed within a week. The Ottoman Empire was now in World War I, not because they wanted to be, because Britain had taken their ships. The war destroyed them. For years later, the empire collapsed. 600 years of history ended. Britain and France carved up Ottoman territories. New borders were drawn with rulers and pencils in Paris and London. Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Palestine, artificial states created by foreign powers. The borders ignored ethnic groups, religious divisions, tribal territories. They were designed for European control, not regional stability. A century later, those borders are still causing wars. But here's what makes the ship seizure different from every other World War I decision. It wasn't about ideology or alliances or long-standing rivalries. It was purely transactional. Britain needed warships. The Ottomans had paid for two. Britain took them. No strategic miscalculation. No diplomatic failure, just power asserting itself over contract law. The Ottomans learned a lesson that day. Your money means nothing if someone stronger wants what you bought. That logic didn't end in 1914. In 2024, the United States froze $300 billion in Russian central bank reserves. Different country, different conflict, same mechanism. Russia had deposited funds in Western financial institutions. When the Ukraine war started, those funds were immobilized. The legal justification was sanctions. The practical reality was identical to 1914. If you need someone else's system to store your wealth, it's not really yours. Countries noticed. China has been reducing its holdings of U.S. Treasury bonds since 2022. Not dramatically, just steadily. Central banks in India, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia have increased their gold reserves. Physical assets that can't be frozen by a foreign government. The pattern is visible. When power dynamics shift, contracts become suggestions. The Ottoman dreadnoughts weren't just stolen ships. They were a demonstration that financial agreements depend on who holds enforcement power. Every empire that trusted another empire's promises learned this eventually. The Ottomans learned it on August 1st, 1914. The world is still learning it today.